Hi everyone, my name is Christian Eschbach, and welcome to another one of my album reviews. Today, we are on episode 50, and as such, it is CanCon time. And for CanCon, I have chosen something that is special and very, very close to home. So close to home, they are literally a hometown band. The Tea Party, and the album is The Seven Circles. This is my favorite Tea Party album. This is hands down close to a perfect 10 album, if not a perfect 10 album. It's a fantastic album. And part of it is, I honestly believe, because this album was produced by two different sets of producers, depending on the songs. But those two producers, one, are both Canadian producers. Windsor, Ontario, Canada is where this band is from. Okay? Windsor band. Members of the band still live here. They're still very much a part of this city. Even though this city, and myself included, did not give them the attention they needed in the early days. But that's because in the early days, myself personally, I found they sounded too much like they were trying to rip off the Doors. But that's not really true. That was my view then. And at that time, it was because I was still discovering the Doors, and here was this band that sounded like they were the Doors, kind of, and, it was a local band, and Windsor always kind of craps on local artists. I've been a Windsor local artist. I know how they get treated. So it really sucks. Part of that problem is because we're right next to Detroit, Michigan, man. Detroit Rock City is our next door neighbor, they're the closest. Detroit is literally a river away, and it's not a wide river. I mean, when it freezes up, when it used to freeze up in the winter, you run rum across it, rum runners. Windsor, Ontario is synonymous. Anyways. Rum Runners is even a place where the Tea Party have played at. Haha, it was a bar. Okay, so, all right, I'm getting way off topic. What I'm trying to say is this is Canadiana, man. This is ultimate Canadiana, and the producers are ultimate Canadiana because we have two amazing producers. First is probably the lesser-known Gavin Brown. I know Gavin Brown because Gavin Brown has produced not only the Tea Party, but Billy Talent. I love Billy Talent. Billy Talent is like one of my all-time favorite bands, man. They are fantastic. You know what? I checked all this up right before I got on here because, he's done so many great Canadian bands. But anyways, the point is Gavin Brown, amazing Canadian producer. He's got Bare Naked Ladies as well was in there. He's got some major, look on the list. I got a list here. And then from there, whatever song Gavin and Jeff Martin, who is lead vocalist in the band, didn't produce together, Bob Rock. Legendary, look at those credits, and that's just a few of them. Bob Rock. Okay? More than anything else, Metallica. Okay? At the end of the day, he did Metallica, but he is a Canadian producer. He's done other great Canadian albums, like Our Lady Peace. He's done, I can't think of the name. So anyways, the point is, this is a great Canadian album, just the whole way around. Everything about it is Canadian. Then we get into the music. Whoa, I hadn't even gotten to that part yet, man. The music. Okay, so the album opens up with Writings on the Wall. What a great, strong opening to an album. And it's not just a basic kind of opening. Like, it has this cool little twinkle going on at the very beginning, like it's a star shooting across, and then all of a sudden, boom, it kicks in, Classic and cliche in some ways, but perfect way to start off an album, man. And really, the production is top notch. Like, everything is thick and rich and clear and wonderful without being overproduced. You can hear what this band is famous for doing all over this album, but they got producers that knew how to use it and how to work with them and how to do it well. From there, we go into Stargazer. Stargazer is another phenomenal track. It takes it down just a little bit, lets you breathe a little bit, but it brings you right back up again. It keeps you pumping and keeps you going. Like, the beauty of this album is it's very uplifting. It is an amazingly uplifting album. I love putting this album on just to feel good. It is one of those albums. There are very few albums I have that I consider feel good albums. This is definitely a feel good album. The only other album I would say that for me is that much of a feel good album where it lifts me up and picks me up when I am in the dumps is probably Weezer's Teal album, which is a cover album. I know there's a couple other ones out there, and I'll mention them over time, but like a really good uplifting album. Next song is One Step Closer Away. Yet again, another good, solid song that is just keeps you moving. It slows down a tad at this point. It has to bring it down a smidge, but not a lot. And it's not a filler, and it really, it's fantastic. Now, the first three songs, true purists of the Tea Party might say are a little too commercial, and I understand. But the commercializing of those songs, it was done beautifully. And it's a Canadian commercial, so it's not like it sounds like a US pop song. It doesn't. It sounds like it belongs with the intelligent music that comes out of Canada on a regular basis. Like this is music that belongs in the same category as Rush. This is music that belongs in the same category as Billy Talent. This is music that belongs in the same category as, crud. Now the names start kind of disappearing. Even Leonard Cohen, totally different type of music, obviously, but deserves the recognition. It's intelligent, it's smart, it's good. When you get to the song Oceans, the reason why I mentioned all that is when you get to the song Oceans, this goes back to more of a traditional Tea Party kind of songs. Has a little bit of that Middle Eastern vibe to it, which has always been present in Tea Party songs from very early on. I find, being that I grew up in the same city as them. I come from the same city as them, like they're only a few years older than I am. I find it amazing how much Middle Eastern influence there was in their music right from the get-go. And the Middle Eastern influence, you could say that they picked it up from other bands, like, say, the Beatles, but it wasn't there in the Doors, which is the band they get compared to the most often, at least the band that I've always heard them compared to the most often. And they don't get it from there. That Middle Eastern influence, that's kind of like their niche almost with music. And it's beautiful the way that they work it. For three Windsor guys, blue collar factory town guys. It's no wonder why they had a hard time breaking in here, unfortunately they didn't get love until they got famous. Canadian famous. This is a band that's never gotten the global appeal they deserve, and they definitely should get more global appeal than this. Okay, so after that we go into Luxuria. Luxuria is one of those songs that when I look at the title, for some reason the song always escapes me. It doesn't come to mind. But when the album's on and going, I know exactly which song it is. It is it's a top-notch song. It is fantastic. I absolutely love it. I love every bit of this song, but it's another one that also I find is more in the tradition of classic Tea Party. It's not just, this more modernized, overproduced, some people would say, Tea Party. All right. Now, all those songs so far, those were all ones that were done with Gavin Brown. Gavin clearly knew what he was doing. He got the right sound out of this. He made he knows the Tea Party, okay? He knows what they sound like. He's clearly done his homework. He knows how to take what they've already done and make it better. And that's exactly what he did. And I should mention, this is also still kind of in the infancy of Gavin Brown's production days. Like, he had done some good names at this point, but not majorly yet, when I did a quick look at his list, the ones that stood out the most is, at this point, he had done Billy Talent 1 and 2. I think. And that was, like those were two of the biggest ones I 100% remember off the top of my head. Now, after that, we go into the Bob Rock batch of songs. And that starts with Overload. Overload is just really heavy, fast, in your face, right out there. A little bit surprising for the Tea Party for me, like it was that, whoa, holy aggressive, like, but not bad aggressive. Not like, oh, it was like, yeah, whoa. And I'm not talking like the Nickelback, let's go party. I mean, like, this is a boom in your face, like, have some good, fun times. Then you get to the song Coming Back Again. And one thing I have to mention is Jeff Burrows is a very underrated drummer. More people need to pay attention to Jeff Burrows and need to learn Jeff Burrows. He is fantastic. His drumming is not, yeah, sure, he does a great job on your basic 4/4 crap. But, where 4/4 or the standard drumming, patterns of basically using the hi-hat, the snare, and the kick, which is so commonplace, and yeah, it makes for great music, and it makes for a great solid background and rhythm in that. On One Step Closer, he doesn't do that crap. He doesn't do that on quite a few songs on here, like he gets into some nice, different drumming, polyrhythmics and stuff like that, where he's using toms, myself included. I am a huge tom player. I love using and working the toms in manners that are more than just going, like everybody loves a, that's why we all air drum the Tom Sawyer drum parts, but this drumming is fantastic. And Coming Back Again is just, it goes with, I go with One Step Closer because that's another one that has some great drumming on it as well, and Oceans. Like, the drumming on this album is top notch. And Coming Back Again, I like because it's a more mellow kind of pulled back tune again. It's more of their classic vein. And Jeff Burrows has been doing this stuff since the beginning. He's that good. The band as a whole is really good, and I'm sorry I haven't mentioned, Stuart, who does the bass and the keyboards here. Let me pull out his full name here. Stuart Chatwood, Stuart Chatwood, Jeff Martin, and yeah, Jeff Martin, Jeff Burrows. Okay, yeah, two Jeffs in the band confused me for a moment. Sorry, but they're fantastic. They're amazing, and we're just gonna move on because the next song is the slowest song on the album, which is The Watcher. The Watcher is very slow, really brings the album down, and at this point the album kind of stays in a lower notch for a while. But it's good the way The Watcher brings it down. It sounds beautiful, it sounds pretty, and I really enjoy it. From there we go to Empty Glass. I like Empty Glass because Empty Glass is still a little bit lower. It's still a little bit kind of remorseful or melancholy-ish. But I like the fact that the music has this good, hard, heavy fuzz on it. I mean, like this great heavy fuzz. So it sounds really heavy musically, but the lyrics are, pulled back and more poetic. Great touch to it. It's debatable what one of the best songs on this album would be, but Wishing You Would Stay, while a ballad, and more of a, not your power ballad. I hate power ballads. This is kind of more of your, softer love song kind of ballad, but this is a beautiful duet, and I love a good duet, and this is done so well and so beautifully that you just can't help but get into this song and get mesmerized by this song. And then the album finishes off with the title track. Seven Circles is a great tune. It really is. It's, once again, it's not the same as everything else. Like, I love that they put all the more commercially, singly, heavy-duty produced stuff at the front of the album. And when they get to the back half of the album is really the meat and potatoes of this album. It's where all the great instrumentation is where all the great music is where all the different music is. The front half gets you hooked in, but the back half holds you. And by the time you get to Seven Circles, you just absolutely mesmerized by this album, and you're taken away by this album, and you really just can't help but be captivated and inspired by the tones and the textures and everything else that's going on. This is such an ethnically rich album, you know? And once again, they've been doing that ethnically rich sound from day one, from the early days, you know, from 1991 when their first album got released, you know, when they were still scraping and scrapping and fighting in the city of Windsor to try and make a name for themselves because they just couldn't do it. I feel bad that I didn't get into them then, but man, I cannot rave enough about this album. And I can't play it enough either. It goes into my repertoire regularly, you know? And it's a wonderful thing. It really is. So, anyways, once again, you really have to own this album. If you like The Doors, buy this album. If you like ethnically diverse music mixed into your rock and roll, buy this album. If you like poetic lyrics, buy this album. If you like listening to bands that like to play music and like to experiment and know how to create more than just your basic 4/4 standardized cookie cutter crap, check this out, man. And please, by all means, help this band get the notoriety. Like, they ended up busting up after this album, you know, and part of the reason was they just could not get the boost that they needed. They should. They really should. And I blame it on the fact that their music is too Middle Eastern for US markets. Anyways, until next time, I love y'all. Peace. Take care. You know, subscribe, leave a comment. Till next time. Buy this album! Go buy it! Go buy it! Tea Party. 7 Circles.